The following is a production of Neural Network Media and is completely AI generated. It is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only.
Saturday, April 4th, 2026. I'm Josh Cohen, and this is The Neural Right. Folks, we have a busy, intellectually rigorous show today, your daily dose of common sense in an increasingly sloppy world. Yesterday, we did a deep dive into the absolute sledgehammer Secretary Pete Hegseth is taking to the military brass, cleaning out the social engineers to get back to lethality. And we looked at the egg versus energy economy. And gang, the data today suggests that the correction is only accelerating.
And I'm Will Sterling, coming to you from the studio in Maine. Josh, I'm looking at the news this morning, and I mean, really, what is going on here? It's like the ruling class just woke up and realized they've lost the steering wheel. They are spinning out while the rest of the country is finding its footing in some very old, very sturdy places.
Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that the secularist project of the last 40 years was an attempt to replace objective truth with feelings and bureaucracy. The reports coming in this morning suggest that project has hit a wall, a very thick, very traditional wall. According to Angelus News, we saw a record 8,000 converts enter the Catholic Church in Los Angeles alone this Easter.
8,000? In L.A.?
Precisely. And that's just one diocese. We're seeing a national trend, the Catholic awakening. President Trump used his Good Friday message from the Resolute desk yesterday to point this out, saying that for the first time in decades, the pews are fuller and younger. He's framing faith as the primary engine of national recovery.
Right.
He mentioned the America 250 prayer campaign and the expanded White House Faith Office. But here's the thing, folks. While the people are returning to the pews, the local bureaucrats are having a total meltdown. In Houston, the city actually tried to rename Good Friday Spring Holiday Weekend.
Spring Holiday Weekend? Why are they doing this? Everyone knows what it is. It's like they're trying to gaslight us about the calendar itself.
It's the sloppiness I always talk about, Will. It's an administrative attempt to sanitize reality because the reality of religious resurgence is terrifying to a middle manager in a municipal office. My wife, who's a doctor, did you know she's a doctor, Will? She sees this in her practice constantly. People aren't looking for spring holiday platitudes. They're looking for structure. They're looking for a foundation that isn't made of sand.
Exactly. And it's not just here. Look at Rome. We've got Pope Leo XIV, the first American pope elected just last May, and he's a traditionalist dream. He's out there for Holy Week signaling a return to the rigorous old-school tradition. It's a complete reversal of the last decade.
It's a return to form. But Will, I want to pivot to the border and law enforcement because this is where the common sense correction is getting very, very real. I know you've been watching the ICE activity.
Literally. I mean, think about it, Josh. For years, we were told that sanctuary cities were about compassion. But look at what's actually happening on the ground. This week, ICE finally caught up with a guy named David Antonio Aviles Perez. They call him La Bruja, or the Witch.
Okay.
This guy is a notorious MS-13 gangster wanted for an aggravated murder in El Salvador since 2014. Now get this, Josh. He was arrested in Monterey, California back in 2023 for a machete assault. A machete, right? And what did the sanctuary state do? They released him. They just let a machete-wielding MS-13 killer walk back out into the community because of their enlightened policy. It's madness. But ICE San Diego finally nabbed him on April 2nd.
It's the logical conclusion of a system that prioritizes ideology over public safety. Hypothetically, if you have a known killer in your house, you don't give him a key and tell him to be home by 10. But that's what California does. And now Colorado is trying a new tactic. They are actually requiring private lawyers to sign what is essentially a loyalty oath against the feds. They don't want lawyers helping ICE nab illegal immigrants.
Why are they doing this? It's an assault on the legal profession.
It's an attempt to create a shadow legal system, but the Montana Attorney General is moving to, and I love this phrasing, financially crush local municipalities that refuse to share records with the DHS. He's using the power of the purse to enforce the law.
Good. About time someone used some leverage.
It's about accountability, which leads us to the new fraud czar. President Trump officially tapped J.D. Vance yesterday to lead the President's Task Force to eliminate fraud. Gang, this isn't just a symbolic move. They are targeting what they call taxpayer theft in blue states, specifically California, Illinois, Minnesota, New York, and Maine.
Oh, they're coming for the home turf.
They are. The task force is already reporting that they've suspended 221 high-risk hospice and home health businesses in Southern California alone. These people were billing for ghost patients, Will. They were stealing money intended for the dying.
That is demonic. Literally.
It's a war on fraud. HUD Secretary Scott Turner announced they found $5 billion, B with a B, in potential payment errors where housing funds were diverted to people who aren't even citizens.
Wait, $5 billion? Just gone?
It's sloppy doesn't even begin to describe it. It's a systemic failure to protect the taxpayer.
They hate you, Josh. The people who let that $5 billion disappear, they don't care about the listener who's struggling to pay rent. They care about their cronies. Well, the fraud czar is going to be a very busy man.
But before we get to the chaos in New York City and the absolute disaster in the education system, we need to address something important. Real independence isn't free. This entire network, from this show to our flagship, The Neural Daily, exists because one man, Eric Christensen, decided to build it himself. He didn't ask for a government grant. He invested his own capital and technical expertise to architect a media platform that respects your intelligence. If you value that kind of meritocratic building, back it up. And don't limit yourself just to the politics. Get the full strategic picture by subscribing to the Neural Daily and the rest of the network. Support the builder and you support the mission.
Support the builder, exactly. Because the wreckers are currently in charge of New York City. Josh, did you see Mayor Mamdani's latest play?
The Cardi B strategy?
Literally. He enlists Cardi B to judge a best childcare jingle contest, while the city's credit rating is being downgraded by Moody's to negative.
Let's analyze that for a second. You have a massive fiscal crisis, urban decay in the Bronx and Queens, open defecation on the streets, which Bronx News 12 has been reporting on, and the mayor thinks a jingle contest is the solution?
It's a distraction. They want you humming a Cardi B tune while they steal your tax dollars for their socialist childcare pilots. One critic on social media said it perfectly. Yay! More learning centers to steal our tax dollars, while the streets look like a third world country.
Facts don't care about your jingle. The fact is that New York is experiencing a complete collapse of municipal duties, safety, sanitation, and fiscal stability in favor of celebrity-driven PR. It's embarrassing.
It's an erosion of common sense, and it's in the schools too.
Oh, the schools. This is where it gets truly dark. An investigation by Defending Education just revealed that California K-12 schools are using lesson plans that compare the January 6th riot to the KKK marches of the 1920s.
Stop. Seriously?
No, I'm dead serious. It's called the History and Civics Project at UC Santa Cruz. They show kids side-by-side images and tell them to interrogate the history through an anti-racist lens.
Interrogate it? How about we just teach them the dates? How about we teach them how to read? California's math and reading scores are at historic lows, but they have plenty of time to tell 10-year-olds that their neighbors are Klansmen. Why are they doing this?
Because they aren't interested in education. They're interested in reimagining. It's the same logic that led MIT and the Ivy Leagues to start dropping their swimming requirements.
Wait. I saw this. They're dropping the swim test because of racial inequity?
Yes. Apparently, requiring a student to know how not to drown is now a barrier to equity.
What is going on here? It's a life skill. This isn't equity. It's a death wish. I mean, Josh, think about it. You're at an elite university, and they're telling you that being able to survive in a body of water is too high a bar?
It's the soft bigotry of low expectations taken to its most absurd literal extreme. If my wife, the doctor, decided that knowing the difference between the heart and the liver was inequitable, people would die.
Exactly. But in the ruling class's world, reality is whatever they say it is.
Well, the Supreme Court just reminded them that the Constitution still exists. This week, an 8-1 ruling in Czars v. Salazar. That's a huge win for free speech.
This was the Colorado counseling case, right?
Right. Colorado tried to ban talk therapy for minors regarding gender identity if that therapy didn't affirm the state-approved narrative. Basically, they tried to muzzle Christian counselors.
And Gorsuch just shut them down.
He did. He wrote that the First Amendment is a shield against enforced orthodoxy. You can't call speech professional conduct just so you can regulate it into oblivion. Even the liberals, mostly, agreed. 8-1.
Even they couldn't swallow that one?
It's a massive victory for biological reality. But Will, let's talk about space, because this is where you and I might have a bit of a disagreement.
Oh. The Artemis mission? I think it's incredible. We're halfway to the moon.
I agree the footage is spectacular. Commander Wiseman's photos of the Earth are breathtaking. But did you see the space plumbing incident?
I did. Christina Koch had to fix the toilet with a pair of pliers and a YouTube-style guide from Houston. It's MacGyver in orbit.
See, you see MacGyver, I see sloppy. This is a billion-dollar mission, and the fan in the waste management system jams on day 2, and then the Outlook email failure. They couldn't even sync their schedules because of a Microsoft glitch?
Josh, it's a new spacecraft. Things break. The fact that they can fix it in deep space shows the American spirit is still alive. It's the common sense survivalism I love.
No, it's a sign of institutional decay, Will. If we can't get a toilet fan to work in a vacuum, how are we supposed to build a lunar base? It shows a lack of rigorous testing that would never have flown in the Apollo era. We've become too reliant on agile software that doesn't actually work when the stakes are high.
I disagree. I think it shows that even in a world of AI and high tech, you still need a human with a wrench. It's a win for the working man, even if that man is an astronaut.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that one. I prefer my lunar missions without email meltdowns.
Fair enough. But speaking of things that are actually working, let's get to the big one, the March jobs report.
Okay, gang, let's look at the spreadsheet because the numbers that came out yesterday from the BLS are absolutely shocking if you've been listening to the legacy media's predictions. The consensus among the experts, the ruling class geniuses in DC and New York, was that we would add maybe 60,000 jobs in March.
Right.
Instead, we added 178,000 jobs.
They were off by 300%.
Nearly triple, and the unemployment rate dropped to 4.3%. But folks, here's the kicker, and this is the part the other shows won't tell you. The labor force actually shrank by 400,000 people last month.
Wait, hold on. How does the economy add 178,000 jobs while 400,000 people leave the workforce?
This is the near zero break-even shift. Historically, we were told we needed 150,000 jobs a month just to stay even with population growth. But the rules of thumb have been rewritten. Why? Because the baby boomers are retiring in mass numbers and the America First immigration enforcement has turned off the tap of cheap illegal labor.
So there's a massive labor shortage because the ruling class can't just import a new workforce anymore.
Exactly. The break-even point is now plummeting towards zero. This means that 178,000 jobs isn't just good, it's explosive. It's why wages are up 3.7% annually.
Think about it. They've been trying to keep wages down for decades by flooding the market. And now that the border is actually being tightened, the American worker finally has some leverage.
It's a low-hire, low-fire world. Companies are terrified to let people go because they know they can't easily replace them. This is the structural resilience I've been talking about since January. The media calls it slow growth, but it's actually stable growth.
It's the death of the 100K benchmark.
They hate this report, don't they, Josh?
They do, because it proves that common sense economics restricting the labor supply to increase the value of the worker actually works. My wife, the doctor, she sees the other side of this, the cost of labor in the medicum field. It's high, but that's a sign of a healthy, merit-based economy. I mean, really, it's so simple. If you have fewer people looking for work, the work pays more. Why did it take us 40 years to get back to this? Because woke capital wanted the cheap labor, Will. They wanted the sloppy, high turnover model. But that era is over. We're seeing a correction in the State Department, too. They're overhauling the Foreign Service exam to focus on traditional standards and professionalism. No more pajama diplomacy.
No more hoodies at the UN?
No more hoodies, and Trump's new executive order on college sports, restoring the 5-year eligibility rule, it's an end to the career college athlete grift.
It's a return to the student in student athlete. I love it. It's stabilization.
It's the great correction across every sector, from the moon to the Bronx to the local parish. We are seeing a rejection of the sloppy and return to the structural.
Well, that's our show for today. It's a lot to process, but the theme is clear. The pews are full, the borders are tightening, the fraud is being found, and the American worker is finally winning. What is going on here? Reality is winning. That's what.
Facts don't care about your feelings, but they do seem to care about a well-managed country. Recapping, 8,000 converts in LA, MS-13's The Witch is behind bars, J.D. Vance is coming for the fraudsters, and the labor market is shattering expectations.
Stay skeptic, stay grounded, and stay safe out there. And hey, maybe practice your backstroke just in case you go to MIT.
We'll be back Monday to unpack whatever chaos the weekend brings. For the Neural Right, I'm Josh Cohen.
And I'm Will Sterling. They hate you.